for the 2v2, so Huni's just going to take the time to base, and they have to kind of accept that loss.
It always feels bad to lose the camp that way, but recognizing you don't have the smite and just conceding the objective before you try to fight for it in vain, lose a couple hundred health, is simply the better option.
Yeah.
It's the lesser of two evils, but it still doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it's never going to feel good, but sometimes the game is about minimizing loss, right? It's a situation where you are in a no-win situation. Now you have to give up the minimum, right? You got counterpicked top lane. Okay, well, it's better to go down 15, 20 CS than it is to be dying and giving up your turret and you know, letting that guy run wild. Doesn't always feel good, but that's what you're going to have to do, and Huni is going to have to try to minimize his losses up here as 3 men from TSM are looking to pressure him off, and again, backs off. Will he give up some CS? Yes, but hopefully for him, he won't be giving up his life.
As long as he doesn't die again, he'll have to concede some of that economy from that wave hitting the turret. Meanwhile, the rest of Echo Fox is saying, okay, we got to get something on the other side of the map. If TSM is going to invest this much top side, we can at least get the Scuttle Crab in the bottom, deny the mark from Grig, and try to control some of this river vision.
Yeah, and I think as a top laner in this spot, you're hoping that you can trust in your team, that they are winning elsewhere. So far they are, right? You know, Lost and Smoothie are ahead of Zven and Mythy. You know, Darlock is taking the Scuttle down there. You would hope that maybe they could snowball that into a later Infernal if the jungler continues to pressure top. And you have to kind of trust that what you are losing out on top lane, you are making up for elsewhere.
And talking about these two teams and sort of where they sit and comparing what they're going to be doing this game. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. Nope. Just a quick auto attack. No big paddling coming through just yet for Demonte there in the mid lane, but you got to be watching out if Bjergsen lands those trouble bubbles. These two teams have very different styles, because Echo Fox is that team that if they're down, they're not going to go down without a fight. It's this chaos style where they're always looking to make some sort of a fight happen. It seems like all their decisions are made around where can we start a fight that we're going to win.
Yeah, exactly. It's sometimes less about, you know, more refined macro style and more about just finding a good fight, right? If they think that they can win this 2v2, if they think they can win that 3v3, that's what they look for. That's what they search for. They trust in their mechanics. They trust in their team fighting. That has gotten them a lot of wins, you know, throughout this entire year. And it's kind of what has gotten them to this point. So they need to really still have faith in that play style. And I think that adding Smoothie, adding Lost, another strong laning 2v2 on the bottom side of the map can make that even easier, because now one of the differences I feel is that if Huni is losing top, if he is being pressured top, and that's where all the other team's resources are going, well, you're getting more bot lane because Lost and Smoothie have been laning very well and pressuring the turrets.
Yeah, you can't just have a bottom lane that's going to concede the lane, sit under their turret and farm, and then let your opponents make top lane life miserable. There has to be some sort of push and pull in order for that to break even. Sven now having to dash away. Binding comes out, just barely going to miss, catching him on the back end of the projectile there. That could have been the beginning of that nasty chain CC you were talking about. Remember, when Sven has teleport, that means there's no cleanse or anything like that. There's no Mikhail's Crucible this early into the game for Mythy. You don't have a QSS either, so if that hits, you're done.
Yeah, exactly. And Sven holding onto the flash, seeing that it was going to miss, so you know, if it was a bit more on target, maybe they get the flash. But if it does hit, it guarantees the Varus ultimate, and Sven will just die. There's double level 6 now here for Smoothie and Lost. They're all in. It's going to be incredibly powerful, especially if Dardoch is in the area, which he is right now. You know, level 6 on Nocturne to follow up a Binding, a Varus ultimate, and there's even potentially that 4-man roam as, you know, Demonte could try to come down too.
Nocturne's always one of those champions that I watch very closely. What happens with the first ultimate? Because you do have such a long cooldown on the early levels. You want to make sure you find value with those big cooldowns whenever you can. And the difference between making that into a kill or just ending up only getting a flash or something similar can be pretty big in a lot of ways.
I mean, it's massive, and you know, getting more quickly to a lot of your CDR items, right? You know, building up that quick warrior, getting the kill that gets you to your next call fields, you know, gets you to that next ultimate that much more quickly. You know, in the ideal Nocturne game, you're essentially just power farming until your ultimate's up, then you immediately ult, you get a kill. You go back to power farming, soon as the ultimate's up, rinse and repeat. And that's, you know, what you're hoping to be able to do.
Are on cooldown than PvE.
Exactly, because Nocturne, outside of his ultimate, is fairly weak. So, you know, he's going to try to look for that early kill with it. And Echo Fox just straight up 2v2, take the turret. You know, this is what I'm talking about. It's okay that Huni is down a bit of farm. It's okay that Huni has died because he's trusting in his bot lane to get the advantage, and they're paying off.
And Huni's playing a champion that can just sit under the turret and farm. He can planar. He can say, all right, cool, I'll go down 10 CS, whatever. Throw my boomerangs at the minions underneath the turret. Bottom lane will do their job as Demonte gets ignited here in the mid lane. It looks like that is the real ignite from Bjergsen. We were the two talking about this earlier before the game, about how whenever there's Zoe, you always have to just take an extra second to look at the summoner spells when you see it to make sure it's the real one.
She flashed 17 times, used 4 heals, a redemption, and an ignite. Oh, both are summoners.
But the ignite was real.
Yeah.
But the ignite was real.
Oh no, Huni.
Huni barely walking away from that one. He will have to use his own flash. Haunter uses his there as well, but he will force Huni off of this turret. Finally, TSM will also send multiple members up towards this top side. Just in case Echo Fox is still planning on defending it, TSM will make the move first. You can see some question mark pings coming out in that topside river from Echo Fox, likely anticipating TSM's movements here. Grig hangs around in the river brush. Mithy will be spotted out by that ward.
Yeah, this is actually pretty big. It allows Echo Fox to set up for this collapse. In they go.
See if they can find the kill here. Won't be able to get it in before the Lambs, despite it's going to be 2 TPs, both used here. Grig having to try to jump himself away. Huni still looking to maybe find an opportunity in here. Chains of Corruption find their way onto Mithy, but again, that's the Alistair. That's the one who can engage the CC. More coming in. The Chain CC follows it up. A little bit more damage will not find the mark, and everyone, Azael, walks away.
Yeah, very close call there. Both teams coming in, and had that piercing arrow been a split second later, the ultimate might have expired there from Mithy, and they may have gotten the kill, but either way, Echo Fox with the HP advantage, they maintain that pressure, and as a result, going to be going over for the Rift Herald here. We see multiple TSM members are in the area, but when your jungler is basing, when you don't have your support, it would be really hard to actually challenge for this.
Now they want to try to punish, but like you said, the health bars on Echo Fox are just too high. There's not really any opportunity to do anything there just yet. So Echo Fox now goes up 3 objectives to 0. They've got a turret, they've got a Drake, they've got Rift Herald. So far, they have found quite a lot for themselves 12 minutes into this game.
Yeah, they're looking really good, and as a result, they can take that Rift Herald and try to pressure another turret. I'm going to be interested to see how Dardoch actually uses that Rift Herald summon. If he's going to try to get a pick first and then go for it, because oftentimes if you can get that kill in the side lane, you can snowball it into a lot. Oh, that sleep.
That bubble was almost trouble, but they're still going to find the damage onto Huni and take him down. It's Grig picking up the money.
Yeah, Huni just gets popped there, playing with fire a little bit, trying to mess around with Grig as he went for that bounty, but TSM comes in with the collapse. 3 members quickly getting in there, and they get the kill onto Huni, and now Dardoch in trouble.
Dardoch tries to go into the enemy jungle, gets a paddling on his way out.
Deleted there by Bjergsen. Mithy showing off some of that Alistar playmaking, finds Dardoch, makes him pay, and this, because Dardoch has gone down, means Echo Fox's dual lane has to kind of back off and can't fully commit to taking down that turret just yet.
I always like to look at what exactly is the potential reward for the action that you're taking right now. When you look at what Huni was doing, trying to stop the Kindred from grabbing the mark, and you look at what happened as the consequence, you have to ask, was that risk versus reward really weighing out in the end?
Exactly. You can't go for the 100% plays, but you also don't want to go for the 10% plays, the 20, the 30% plays. You have to, really kind of calculate that, and ultimate is back up for Mithy.
Mithy's got it. He decides to go right in the face of Echo Fox, and TSM will turn this one right around. Culling comes out, and Lost goes down. It's a double kill for Grig.
Grig is 4-0 right now. It's Echo Fox looking for the engage, but Mithy pops the ultimate, turns the fight around, and Smoothie just gets destroyed before he can actually get a stopwatch off. So Echo Fox down 5 kills now, and TSM looking so much more aggressive, so much more proactive with Mithy on this Alistar.
And I love this decision here. Goes right in.
Yeah, pops the ultimate, gets out of the binding, flashes right onto Lost, slows him down, even able to survive, and then Sven and Grig there to back him up, and Grig feeling good, having a laugh about it. 4-0 on the Kindred.
All
gonna be smiling.
All smiles when you get to start off like that, 4-0 on one of those carry junglers. Shelly summoned up here in the mid lane, only takes a minimum amount of damage before getting off the charge. Mid lane tier 1 turret will be taken low, but now Echo Fox could be in some trouble. Haunter coming in with the Righteous Glory, looking to find the silence onto 1. More damage going through. Dardoch gonna be bursted down as the stun comes back onto Grig, who is taken low, but not so low that he's actually in danger of dying yet. Doesn't even have to pop the Lamb's Respite. That's 1-0, TSM.
Yeah, and Grig has been playing a hell of a game. I mean, his pressure on the top side has put Huni very far behind. Huni is down, he has had 2 deaths, but he's also down 35 CS, so it's both, right? And you can give up some kills, but you want to stay at least relevant in the farm. He is pretty far behind in that regard, and TSM really starting to kind of take some control. Echo Fox has farmed well in other areas, though, so they're not super far down in gold. But still, TSM looking good, and Mithy looking very proactive. It's promising as a TSM fan to see him being able to make those plays, being able to go forward and find those picks on the Alistar, because that's something that TSM has been sorely lacking.
And TSM seems coordinated here as well. Mithy's ability to turn that fight around on the top side and just immediately go back in on his opponents relied on the fact that he could count on his team to say, okay, just turn. And for a team that has seemed to have communication issues, have teamwork problems, that's big. That shows those weaknesses are being addressed.
Definitely does. And for Echo Fox, it's been all about this duel lane. Smoothie and Lost have taken down 2 turrets. They're now looking 3-man top.
3 versus 1 against Haunster's Cho'Gath, and there's not a lot of a chance out of that one. Echo Fox finally get themselves on the board.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6-1 in kills, but because Lost and Smoothie have knocked down 2 turrets, the gold is still pretty darn close. And they are now looking to pressure another turret here. TSM trying to respond in mid, in bot. But they could potentially knock down another turret. You can see Smoothie is roaming down to help out Demonte with any potential pressure here, but Huni's going to have to back off once again, being zoned off these waves, and TSM has done such a good job. It looks like they're even trying to dive onto him.
Huni's in a lot of trouble here. Sven bringing in some damage. Huni has to flash away, does get the ignite. As now the Drake will also be taken by the side of TSM. Drake grabbing that Earth Drake for his team means they'll have more objective control as the game goes on. Sven also grabs the bottom side tier 1 turret. First turret of the game for TSM, but they lose their top lane tier 2 at the same time. Again, that's Lost and Smoothie putting in that work that you were talking about, making sure Echo Fox doesn't fall too far behind.
Yeah, and that's so critical because Huni is certainly having a rough game. He's being pressured so heavily by TSM. Grig and the rest of the team have done an excellent job pressuring off waves constantly and then looking for dive opportunities whenever they can. And this is just putting him further and further behind. So the onus is more on his teammates and more on Darlock to have relevance early on because he is on this Nocturne. We talked about how tough it's going to be for him to team fight 5v5 into this Kindred who can just drop the ult on any squishy target you go in on. So going to be up to Echo Fox to continue getting pressures in the side lane, to continue trying to find opportunities for Dardoch and really let Huni catch up.
I mean, if the matchup itself isn't already hard enough, try being 0-2 into the 5-0 matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other side of the coin, talking about how we're not seeing the Cinderhulk junglers as much anymore. It's more this carry style as opposed to tanks. Tank is always useful. He can always throw his CC button out there, lock somebody down, provide value in a team fight. A Nocturne that's behind is a gold delivery system to the enemy carry.
Yeah, I mean, you have your darkness, that's about it, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to mess up their vision. You have a little bit of utility there, maybe some zoning, but really not much. And, Grig, as you said, he has 5 kills, so he's been able to kind of pit stop for some luxury items. Grabbing the QSS, grabbing the tabbies means there's a very low chance you will kill this guy before he gets his ultimate off, right? Even if he gets hit with the CC, he should be able to QSS, get that ultimate down, and sometimes when you are this ahead, building defensively actually lets you kind of get more involved in the fights and actually get more damage out, even though it sounds somewhat counterintuitive, because you don't have to be as scared of getting one-shot by this, Syndra or getting absolutely burst down before you can ultimate in a Gnar stun.
And being able to play aggressively, being able to not have to worry about all those stuns, might be the answer TSM needs to fix some of those problems that we mentioned earlier on, where it seems like even with a lead, it's hard for them to translate that into more. It's hard to build something greater out of it. If you don't have to worry about the risks, the rewards just seem that much juicier.
Yeah, they can just start piling in. And while Kindred is not really like a primary engaged champion, we've seen some damn aggressive Kindred games from Dardoch himself, but also, I think very heavily of Blabber and some of the games he's had where he has gotten ahead on Kindred, and then he's just jumping forward and fighting people, right? You can get to a certain point where you can just aggressively look for that dueling when your team is behind you, because if they burst everything into you, you drop the ult, your team comes flying in, the enemy team has no cooldowns to deal with them, and then they can clean up the rest of that fight.
I want to point out, too, we're taking a look at the itemization coming out this game. Is now Demonte is going to be stunned on. Grig looking to make this one happen. Going to be stunned up. QSS means he's able to get that Lamb's Respite down in time, but Echo Fox is looking to collapse with multiple members. Grig going to be taken very low, but Dardoch's taken down first. Grig goes down 2. Shutdown credit over to Huni as Haunter drops next. Echo Fox still looking to make this fight happen. They're going for even more now on to Sven. as the damage comes through and Huni stays alive.
Echo Fox turning the dive around. Dardoch in range right at the very start, and despite the fact that the ultimate got off from Grig, more Echo Fox members were there faster. They respond to the fight, and 2 kills going to Huni, plus the 5-kill monster shutdown. Just got hand-delivered there to Huni, and he is going to be right back into the game. Completes the cleaver. He has a Bilgewater Cutlass. He is right back in there for split push.
Let's take another look at how this happened, because TSM really wanted Demonte.
Yeah, they want to go aggressive here. They have been making proactive plays, but there's too many Echo Fox members there in the area. 3 Echo Fox members were there right at the start. The only 2 members who weren't immediately TP into the turret. A great response from Echo Fox, coming in very, very quickly. Full commitment to the call to fight. They're able to pick up 3 for the low cost of 1 Nocturne.
Bjergsen also, the paddle star that he aimed onto Smoothie very slightly missed him, just went right above that Morgana, so could have almost been a 2 for 3 there. The accuracy not quite where it needed to be for TSM to make that one a little bit closer. And that was eerily reminiscent of what Golden Guardians tried to do yesterday against TSM.
Yeah.
They tried to make a dive happen underneath that tier 1 topside turret. TSM turned it around. And this is what you're talking about, Azale. Nothing's a 100%, but when you're taking something that's too far away from those high numbers, you're running the risk of gifting things over to your opponents.
You definitely are, but you have to be willing to take some hits, and continually go for those punches, right? So many of their aggressive plays throughout this game have worked, so you can't just say, well, can't ever play aggressive again because that one didn't work. So, yes, that dive did not work out. Yes, there was more Echo Fox members in the area, but TSM, they have gotten to their original lead through aggressive play. I want to see them continue to be proactive. I want to see them look for that next play and still trust in their calls and trust in their ability to play well. Otherwise, if you fall back and allow Huni to have his time in his side lane, expect Echo Fox to start dictating.
Especially considering what Huni is building. This isn't Black Cleaver into tankiness Gnar. It is the Black Cleaver into the Blade of the Ruined King, that split push build. As Dardoch goes in, looks to find a little bit of damage there onto Haunter.
Don't think that's the guy you want.
No, not really.
Yeah, he's a tanky boy, and Haunter just kind of casually walks out.
It's like, all right, man, cool. See you later.
That's a very, very big boy. But anyway, Dardoch cooldown is going to be out of there. Hoping, obviously, that he could have the follow-up to maybe just burn him down. And if Haunter is alone, then hey, maybe you just focus fire that tank. You can't retaliate, you get a kill. And that's kind of what Dardoch was looking for there. Either way, doesn't work out. We'll see, though, if TSM can find another play here. Is Demonte up on the top side.
Nice little bit of damage coming out there onto Mithy. Both these mages hit like a truck,
yeah.
By the way. Morello Namicon, Sorcerer's Shoes, Luden's Echo on the Syndra. Same thing, but with Mercury Treads for the Zoe. If these guys can land their combos, it's just going to delete health bars, whichever ones they find themselves onto. There's not a lot of magic resistance in this game. By not a lot, I mean there's actually none aside from shoes. So,
QSS, baby, let's go.
Okay, we got a QSS. All right. If we're really going to nitpick and call that a magic resist item, we got a QSS.
It's going to defend you from the double spell pen. But yeah, Demonte obviously is at that kind of burst triumvirate of items. Double spell pen plus Ludens is about as bursty as you can get with that amount of gold. Certainly not a lot of magic resist, especially when you're looking at someone like Sven, who would be a prime target for that Syndra. He could get absolutely blown up. But then you're depending again on Kindred to be there and to pop that ultimate in time to kind of negate a lot of the burst that comes out of Echo Fox. Mithy is behind these guys, and he's going to look for the fight here.
This could be a disaster. Righteous Glory coming out from Haunter, looking to find the collapse here. It's going to be Smoothie jumped on TSM with no mercy. Find the pick onto the Echo Fox support.
Yeah, they get the kill on a Smoothie, and they get the flash. So even though Lost was actually black shielded, he expends the flash there. So that means that they kind of get a double reward, and we're going to have to track if that gets punished later on, because that Varus with no flash could be a pretty juicy target for Mithy, who is going to have his flash available.
Absolutely. Echo Fox now will continue just trying to shove up here in the mid lane. TSM won't find anything off the back of that pick. It's just going to be the 300 gold as well as the flash from that enemy 80 carry like you mentioned. Always one thing you've got to think about. Yeah, we got the pick. Can we get anything else? TSM decides right now the answer is no. Drake isn't alive. There's not really any turret you can take right now at the positioning of the waves, and I mean, Baron's a little bit audacious for 24 minutes into the game after having only taken down the enemy support.
But that being said, that flash may mean, hey, in a couple minutes, if you kill off Lost before that flash comes up, then you can maybe actually turn that into a Baron, right? You start up that Baron. If they don't have their marksman, you could maybe turn and fight, or you can just burn it down. And that's something that they can look to kind of get that additional reward later on, but they're going to have to be proactive and try to attack Lost before the flash comes out. And Blade of the Rune King now done for Huni. He picks up an additional dagger, which tells me there's a high chance he could be going into the Rage Blade style build to get those additional hyper procs, which really is full commitment to side lane, right? This is much less about the team fight. Sure, you can still fly in and go for that Meganar, but you are going to be a very squishy boy.
You will die in one Trouble Bubble Paddle Star.
Yeah.
With no defensive itemization aside from the health on a Black Cleaver.
Yeah, it's very, very scary. But at the same time, hey, if you got left alone with Haunter, he's not going to have very much fun. And if you get to a turret with all that attack speed, you can burn that down very much. So the track if Huni can get ahead and if he's going to be able to make that pay off, or if Haunter is going to be able to kind of get to those team fights and where he really wants to be most effective.
Haunter has been pretty effective so far. The Righteous Glory first pick, we've seen him use it in fight after fight to just make sure he can get in there, be that front line for TSM. And honestly, 26 minutes into this game, despite the fact that 11 total objectives have gone down, including Drakes and Rift Heralds, and there's already 12 kills, you're still seeing a game that's 200 gold apart.
Yeah, this is an incredibly close game between these two teams. You know, really is going to come down to execution, and Huni wisely backing off as a lot of TSM members go missing. You can see there's no Echo Fox vision on the bottom side of the map. He has no idea where anyone is. All their wards are around Baron. That is where they are focusing. So he has to play with respect, and Mithy is around here.
We will steal away that red buff. Always nice to have that on a ranged auto attacker. Kindred making wonderful use of that extra utility and damage as TSM will push up towards tier 2. Seeing if maybe they can get some damage onto this with the minion wave. Looks like they will, because Demonte is nowhere nearby. Remember, this is not a teleport Syndra. He has the cleanse instead, so without enough members nearby to make that defense happen, TSM pick up a freebie. Yeah,
they have the top wave pushing, so maybe some minions will be lost there for TSM, but they get a turret. This is nice play around that bottom side of the map. TSM drops a couple of pink wards there, kind of makes it harder for Huni to feel safe split pushing, and Haunter was even, you could see, threatening a flank.
Binding there over the wall from Oh my God! Gameplay button.
There was a Morgana there 1 second ago, I swear to you. Your eyes are not deceiving you.
Bjergsen just hits him with the damage.
Bjergsen pulling off his best magic trick. Now you see him, now you don't.
Now you don't. Where did he go?
Hate to see that happen.
You really hate to see it, unless you're TSM, in which case you're really loving to see that one. 2-0 and 4 now on Bjergsen Zoe. Got 2 needlessly large rods in the inventory. Means Rabadon's death cap is on the way. And if you thought that was a one-shot, let me tell you about Rabadon's death cap, Azael. Because we are going to see some crazy damage coming out now as the collapse from Echo Fox onto the top laner from TSM will make sure they can find themselves a kill. Dardoch has to flash away to make sure he doesn't die to that last turret shot that likely would have come out there. But now TSM says, okay, you want to put 3 guys in the bottom lane? We're going to go ahead and look for the Baron now ourselves. Smoothie's the only one hanging around the area right now. TP also going to be channeled now from Huni. Echo Fox really trying to stop this. Bjergsen trying to keep them away. Baron going to be taken now down below 2,000 HP. Mithy looking to run some interference. Demonte wanted to catch somebody on the back of the pit. Looking to find the stun if he can. Will not get it just yet. Bjergsen goes on a killing spree again. He says, Smoothie, didn't you learn your lesson the first time? As he tries to get himself away.
Lost has to be careful too.
Collapse. Yeah, Lost is gonna, okay. Sidesteps both of them. Bjergsen's still trying to get himself out of this one. Battlestar comes back out. Lost eats a lot of damage, but Bjergsen will drop there. TSM do manage to find themselves the Baron. Of course, they will only have it on Griggen's Vent.
Yeah, but that is a critical takedown for them. So again, TSM being decisive. They lose 1 member on the bottom side of the map. They fully commit to the Baron. You can see Mithy is buying time. He is giving up his life for the team here, going forward. Bjergsen able to trade back a kill, flashes out of the Varus ultimate right there after. And real flash, important to note. No imitation, and either way, Bjergsen is going to get chased down. Lost patient enough, making sure he doesn't overcommit and actually chase into his own death. So they do get that kill. TSM does have the Baron, and now it's about fighting for this Infernal, but it looks like Echo Fox are the ones that are there first and should be able to take it down.
This is the Echo Fox I know. This is the team that, despite the fact that their opponents are the ones who got Baron, they say, nope, we don't care, still fighting you in open ground. This is how we play League of Legends.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a smart play, right? Because TSM had lost a lot of health from that Baron, because, Mithy is giving up his life for the team, you can win the team fight thereafter. You can knock off some of those Baron buffs. So it ends up being a fairly even trade, but you have to say, looking at the game state, double Infernal is a very big advantage for Echo Fox, especially because of how many people are building damage.
Yeah.
All 5 members of Echo Fox are getting big benefits from this AD, from this AP. It's not an Alistar, it's not a Mundo. This is, full kind of damage Huni on the Gnar and an AP Morgana.
Rig taken very low there by Damonte. Has to pop his own ultimate, but Mithy ends up messing up the combo and actually shoves Damonte to safety. Damonte pops the stopwatch, keeping himself alive. He's going to be Hanser food, though. The shutdown credit going over to TSM's top laner, but Huni is knocking on the door to the bottom lane.
Yeah, Huni completed the Rage Blade off of his last shutdown in that team fight. He is just straight onto it. They're trying to delay the bases here.
Is this going to be another NALCS base race?
It could be. I mean, someone else has to go back. So multiple members are going back for TSM, so they have 2 there to try to stop. And now the 3 members from TSM are trying to push for the inhibitor.
TSM wanting to take this one down. It's going to be the ultimate used there from Dardoch, trying to scare them away. He will be taken very low. Can't quite find his mark just yet. Somehow lives with 40 HP. He'll walk away. They'll hold the turret for now. Binding comes out, only finds its way onto the cannon. It'll stop that Baron up push from using that resource. However, they're still able to break the line. They're still able to find the inhib, and TSM come out on top.
Yeah, and Huni's not going to have time to actually knock down any inhibitor because Mithy had rejoined the team, but he didn't have vision of that until just recently. They have the Baron recalls, so TSM managing these calls in the hectic situations much better. You think back to that FlyQuest game, listening to some of the comms there was so split, was so messy. This time TSM makes a calm decision, 2 members back to defend, 3 members continue the push, they get the inhibitor, they keep their own alive.
Yeah, you talked about the TSM Legends episode at the beginning of this game, and the comms from that FlyQuest game, specifically the ending, were so jarring because it seemed like everyone was on a different page. The team just couldn't agree on where they wanted to go and what they wanted to do. And this level of coordination, I said it before when talking about a micro situation of Mithy making the turnaround play top. Now in the macro situation of managing the inhibitor, TSM has addressed those issues, at least to a degree.
Yeah, they definitely have. And Echo Fox, on their side, they do have, a lot of actual frontline damage here because of the Rage Blade auto attack based Varus. This is not poke Varus. Huni is going to be able to help shred frontline as well, but the straight up 5v5 is still going to be so difficult because there's 2 very strong marksmen of the team of TSM. There's really strong engage. There's poke and follow from Bjergsen, and there's this VP frontline. And that is why Echo Fox is looking for these side picks.
Dardoch going in onto Bjergsen. That's going to be a massive pick if they make it happen, and Damonte guarantees they do. Hanser now having to run away from Huni, who, remember, although he's pretty squishy, is one scary boy on this high damage Gnar build. Will sidestep his way out of the rupture. TSM now continuing to retreat. A 1-for-0 from Echo Fox puts the brakes on the TSM push machine.
Yeah, it's such a big pick for them because it's buying them more time. It means TSM can no longer kind of pressure forward with that 4-man squad. Bjergsen is off the map. Here it is one more time. Bjergsen looking for that poke. He has spotted it out, but in goes Dardoch straight onto him. Lost really nice piercing arrow and ultimate both connecting over the wall. That was some clean Varus play from Lost, helping them to get that really, really important kill and buy more time for Huni to get out on the map, buy more time for him to try to create these 1v1 advantages.
Lost has been having some pretty solid performances so far.
Really?
After stepping up, after graduating from Academy League and taking his spot on the main stage here with Echo Fox, he's been showing that he deserves this shot.
And it's really exciting because it was hard to tell how good is he when he was on, basically the last place Academy team, right? And sometimes even a good player surrounded by an unsuccessful team will not look that good, right? And now he has some very strong pieces around him. He kind of talked about his relationship with Smoothie and how Smoothie is helping him to grow, helping him to really learn a lot on this Echo Fox team. And I think that Lost is shining. This is, some of the best performances in the LCS out of the gate from a marksman that we have seen in a really long time.
If he can keep this performance up, he will be critical to winning this game against TSM in a game that's still not even 2,000 gold apart, 34 minutes in, as now Huni's getting himself jumped on. Nice flash over the wall, but Dardoch comes in and says, all right, we're going to look to turn this one around. But considering his top laner already went over the wall, The coordination not quite there from Echo Fox. Sven dashes forward. Huni still hanging around thinking maybe we make something happen here. Mithy's going to be found out in the river. Likely going to be some trades going on here as Sven's taken down. Huni able to find the kill on the enemy marksman. Mithy drops now as well. It's the bottom lane of TSM dead. The top side of the map for Echo Fox also with black and white screens. 3v3 left alive.
Yeah, pretty disjointed engage there as Huni is flashing out. Dardoch is ulting in. Had they both stayed in, maybe that's a different fight. Maybe they pick up those kills a little bit more cleanly. Either way, it is the 2-for-2 trade. I think this 3-man squad from Echo Fox is still very strong on the map, but here it is. Huni's getting a lot of damage down. Not expecting perhaps that Dardoch was going to immediately respond that quickly, so they do have to go out. They do look for the retreat. Multiple TPs are coming in. Everyone is collapsing down. The Echo Fox kind of bottom lane here goes over, focusing on Mithy while Haunter is cleaning up Dardoch. On the top side of your screen, you can see that Huni was able to get that kill over onto Sven.
Monte tries to throw a little bit of damage down onto Haunter, but hanging out in these choke points, in these jungle areas, you got to be so careful about those trouble bubbles with so many walls to fly through. There's a lot of range they can go on as TSM decides this is the call. We go for Baron here. We force the game on this objective. They're taking it down very rapidly. Already down to 5k HP. Lost not able to find the chains of corruption he needs. Still looking to do so much damage as Haunter secure the Baron. But now TSM's in some trouble. Echo Fox makes their way into the pit. The Lamp despite is down. Fierceson looks to go into the pit. Will not find anything with the Paddle Star. Damage over the wall comes out. And Demonte scores a goal as Bjergsen does manage to get himself away. It's only Guardian Angel dropped for Grig.
Yeah, just the Guardian Angel. They do get the kill on Haunter, though. Grig did not drop that Lambda Spite to actually save his top laner. His GA is down, but TSM get the Baron. They get the big prize. They have map control. They're going to be looking for Elder. Here it is one more time. Dardoch was back in the base, trying to ult in time. Not there to get the smite, but even if he was, the Feast is very hard to actually steal that away from him. And then Grig plays this very well. Lambs Spite to get over the wall. They do trade the one kill, but Demonte able to at least proc the GA, and TSM now straight onto this Elder. They're trying to knock it down. Echo Fox trying to get over there.
Only thing better than one Uber buff is two Uber buffs. TSM will be very scary if they manage to collect this. Echo Fox trying to prevent that as hard as they can. Elder Drake down to about 1,000 HP. It is going to be secured there by Grig. Echo Fox need to disengage this one and prepare for one hell of a defense now with TSM having these buffs.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard. It is just a one-stack Elder, but even just taking that away from Echo Fox is a big deal, and it's some additional gold and power kind of in their pocket with the Baron buff, with the Elder Dragon. They're going to be in a strong position, and both of those objectives, Dardoch is not there to actually try to get that steal.
Will take down the mid lane tier 2, look to find some damage onto Haunter now as well. Once he goes back into that Mininar form, he's actually much more threatening when he has this split push style build. He can start landing those hyper procs again. But with the rest of TSM potentially being able to collapse, he decides he doesn't want anything else to do with that. Ben walks up, gets the auto attacks onto the turret to finish that, and TSM will now have nothing left to take to the base.
You can see that Dardoch is trying to hang around Huni, though. They are potentially looking for that 2v1 collapse to get a kill and have Huni maybe break open the game, because right now they are being sieged. TSM closing in, looking for the one shot.
Bjergsen nearly finds it onto Demonte, taking off 3/4 of his health with that one big explosion of damage. TSM will continue looking for the inhibitor here. One is exposed in the top side, this one also exposed here in the bottom lane. Ben will eat a little bit of damage there coming out from that tormented soil. Lost still looking to get off the piercing arrow. Scatter the Weak comes out from Demonte, but will not find anyone. TSM grabs the inhib and gets out.
And that damage was through a black shield there, and it's non-trivial amount of AP that is on Smoothie. He likely has that black shield maxed out at level 13 this point of the game. So definitely a scary amount of damage coming out there from Bjergsen. But as we mentioned, Echo Fox Lost is going for this auto attack focused build. He has his IE now. He is at a very, very strong point. But he has no real front line, so it's harder for him to get involved and feel safe to go forward for those auto attacks, because he doesn't have that Cho'Gath and the Alistar in front of him, creating space. He has to be very careful, because one misstep, you get caught by a combo from Alistar, you're probably dead in the game ends, right? So he has to be very, very careful about how he chooses his fights, when he chooses his moments to move forward.
And looking at the itemization, looking at the risk of being caught in the wrong spot for either team, both AD carry players pack a ton of damage. You already touched on what we've seen Bjergsen do. Demonte's also got incredible burst potential himself. Mithy wants to come around, see if maybe he can get the flank on this one. Echo Fox recognizes trouble. They get themselves out before TSM can make the collapse, but you've still got one exposed inhib, one down inhib, and your opponents with these buffs that are just now starting to wear off.
And Huni is just continuing to split push, right? He's trying to do this. So it's up to that 4-man squad from Echo Fox to try to hold the line, to give up the minimum. And they have a very hard job because there is hard engage from TSM, but TSM calling it off, saying we are not positive that we can actually get this inhibitor down before Huni gets one of his own. So they back off, they look to defend, reset, spend their gold, and still we are left at a very, very close game. TSM is one fight away from winning, but honestly, so is Echo Fox. I mean, if you actually ace this team, you could maybe march it down through bot and just end the game.
And Huni, while his last couple of items have had more of a bruiser profile to them as opposed to strict damage like a Blade of the Ruined King and against Rageblade, there are no tank items on Huni. Sterix and what this Jarm's Fist is building into as a Frozen Mallet are both bruiser items. Cleaver is a bruiser item. The remaining two are carry items. This is a Gnar that is 100% invested in split pushing and going for some kind of side lane victory, even this late into the game.
He's been spotted. Oh, secret agent Huni.
Holy cow.
He's just hiding in the bush.
Snake hiding out.
Quick, don't
Now
move.
he's found his way onto Haunter. Looking to make this play. It's Dardoch coming in from the side here as well, making sure they're able to find it. The Gargoyle Stone Plate is going to be popped, but it will not be enough. Drake tries to come in from the side, looking to collapse, maybe do something. But not today. Echo Fox gets 1 for 0.
Nicely done, finding that pickup on Haunter. That is a long respawn timer, almost a full minute, and it's one of those situations where as Haunter, you're like, how did he get behind me? The Keeter just walked there. I was in the lane. Everyone was around here.
We checked that. But you didn't check close enough.
Gotta check that bush.
Echo Fox have managed to hold on despite the fact that TSM has had map control since grabbing that Baron. They have managed to keep themselves in a serviceable position. I know I've already commented on it twice, but damn, Azael, how often do you see 41 minutes into the game and 100 gold separating the teams?
Not very often.
This is incredible in terms of just how knife's edge this game has been. And I really hope the finale does the entire game justice and we get to see something just completely off the wall as the super minions will continue helping TSM push out this bottom lane, just making Huni take a little bit of extra time. All right, he will decide to... I was thinking for a second there, I was like, do you want to go for Sven? Do you really want to go for him?
He wants to.
You know he does. You know, okay, I'll rephrase that. Should you go for Sven?
Probably not. And probably his whole team's like, base, base, base. He's like, what if I can kill him?
But what if, hold on, hear me out, guys. Hear me out.
What if I didn't base?
What if I throw my boomerang at him?
Well, he's on 6 items, so that boomerang's going to do a lot of damage if he does throw it out. And, you know, not only is it so close, but it's two teams with such different play styles, such different compositions that they have crafted. You know, Echo Fox fully committing to this side lane style of play. Huni trying to push up, Dardoch trying to find picks. And TSM is just like, just fight us. We just want to 5v5. They want to walk at you with this 5-man squad, find the engage from Mithy, have Grig for the ultimate to stop any potential burst, and then just slowly win out that team fight. But Echo Fox is trying to play these kind of skirmish tactics where Damonte's pushing out top, Huni's pushing out bottom. They're trying to avoid a committed fight.
Echo Fox say, okay, Baron's going to be spawning here in a few seconds. TSM's going to walk up and check this brush. When they check it with Haunter, Echo Fox can't really make a punish off of that. TSM will have priority here in the mid lane. If Echo Fox decides to go for the Baron, TSM will just run down mid. This is where that shot calling is going to come in. TSM has to make sure whatever they decide, they're committed to the decision. Huni's still going to remain here in the bottom lane. As TSM, 5 men strong into the mid lane. It's inhibitor turret down as they now have nothing left defending the inhibs. Huni will continue to push there in the bottom side. Echo Fox finally puts themselves into a defensive position to prevent TSM from taking anything else. So far, it's 1 inhib for nothing. Damonte finds a stun onto 1. Chain CC coming out onto Haunter. He is definitely caught out here. Bjergsen goes over the wall, but he's already dead. Lazarus Spike's not going to keep him alive today.
Huni get the game, they're teaming in.
TSM, they've got to try to get out of here as Echo Fox wants to end the game.
I think this is
Huni on an axis. He's got the minion wave. He's got lost. And Echo Fox have got their win.
It happens again, TSM in control for so much of that game. But just like the FlyQuest game, they lose track of where they are in that split push. They lose 2 kills in the 5v4. Lost TP's in. Huni's already pushing it. Echo Fox closed out what was a hell of a game.
We saw so many plays that game from Bjergsen where he would hit people with massive bursts of damage. But at the end of that game, it was him who was bursted down too quickly. Grig couldn't save him in time, and by the time the chaos of that dissolves, it's Huni already knocking down Nexus turrets. That is the finale I wanted.
And lost so quick to call that TP, to move in there. The rest of the Echo Fox squad delaying the bases, not allowing TSM to get back in time. And you can see the pain there for Grig. It's a tough loss to swallow.
Absolutely.
And the Kindred ultimate did come in a little bit too late to save either Haunter or Bjergsen. And you know that's a mistake that you're going to want back. But Echo Fox played this chaotic style very well. And again, so much credit really needs to go, I think, to the Echo Fox bottom lane. I think this team played very well around them. Smoothie and Lost take down multiple turrets and played this game very, very well.
It was an awesome battle between these two teams, back and forth the entirety of that 40-minute slugfest. And now to get his thoughts on the win, I'm going to hand things over to Avali, who's standing by with Huni.
Thanks, guys. What an ending to that game. Huni, please run me through the last minute and what you were doing.
I mean, I killed the Nexus.
You killed the Nexus, and it looked like you were doing secret undercover in bot lane bushes, and you were split pushing the whole time. Was that your game plan?
Yeah, obviously. If you see the my item build past two, it was fully attack speed. My AD was 350. You know, the Nair was doing. That was my best that I can do, I think. And because enemy team was 5 versus 5 was really strong compared to our draft. And then that's how I realized, oh, this is I really need to play for really split pusher with a Nocturne. And then that's how it worked.
And before the cameras came on, you basically said that you weren't too happy with this game. So where do you think you guys could have improved?
Yeah, early game was really tough because our macro was pretty bad. And also our draft was pretty not really clear actually before we actually start the game. So I think probably one thing that we could have just make clear draft, and second, I think macro was could have been better. And then our all game would have been way clear, and then we would have just finished the same way, which is split pushers.
Anything you want to say to your team after that game?
Well done.
Well done. Same to you. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avali. Yet another NALCS game ends in such a fashion of a base race. And lucky for us, we've got Santorin on the desk to help us break it down. Experience in these situations. Before we work our way through the entire game, I do want to relive those last few moments, talk about, one, the decision and the win for Echo Fox, but maybe what should have been done differently for TSM.
Yeah, so Santorin and I were just talking about this, and the preliminary conclusion is that Echo Fox actually made a really good play here because they have Baron vision, so TSM doesn't want to face check while Huni is split pushing. But Santorin, take it from here. What is TSM thinking?
Yeah, so I think they're really scared of face checking Baron, and they see now pushing bot. So okay, we got to force something. So
mid priority.
Yeah, so walk down mid, and I think at this point it's already really hard for them because I think honestly they should walk back to Baron, start Baron, force a play because you have time before now starts pushing the waves. But at this point it's already too late. Now it's already on Nexus Taurus, in a second, so I think they already missed out here. Even if they don't die and Echo Fox keeps chasing them, it's going to be bad for them.
So to your point, you would have liked TSM to go down mid like they did, but once they get the reaction out of Echo Fox's members at the Baron, then they themselves go to Baron to pull Echo Fox towards them versus kind of hard committed for that inhib, right?
Because also, no matter what, you have to respond to Huni with something.
Right, you can't go 5 versus 4 while allowing a 1 versus 0 to exist in the side lane.
So if you go to the Baron, you're hopefully pulling Huni to that fight, or you get the Baron and get the Baron empowered recall off.
Yeah, but he's going to end so fast with that build.
Oh my God,
hard. I wonder.
I legit have never wanted to play Gnar more than watching Huni eat through an 8K Cho'Gath tank in 4 seconds.
This is your classic problem. Whenever you have a split pusher get to that point in a game where they can 1v1 and maybe arguably 1v2 anyone, it becomes really hard to play against if you're executing well.
Yes, you've perfectly illustrated the problem.
I know everyone wants us to say, oh my God, TSM should have just done this thing to achieve victory. But
they were in a very tough situation.
At that point, I think if Echo Fox pulls off the right macro play, I don't know if there's a way TSM achieves victory
Right.
without an Echo Fox mistake. There are plenty of TSM mistakes before that, which we're going to cover.
Exactly. So let's do that now. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, figure out how we even got to this point. Starting in Champion Select, of course, this is the first time we've seen the Nocturne versus Zoe matchup because we have highlighted in the past the difficulty that Nocturne can create for Zoe, but Bjergsen valuing that pick so high that they decide to allow that first pick prioritization come through on the Nocturne to secure the Zoe.
I mean, like, he had an absolutely monstrous performance, and a lot of it was in laning phase before you would have had that Nocturne Zoe interaction where the blackout stops your team fighting. So I think that's kind of what they were thinking about, was like, Bjergsen was so good on Zoe, let's get that on him again. It was his best one of his best performances this split.
Now, that said, we have to take a look at Echo Fox and the playstyle matchup against TSM, as you had talked about at the top of the day. Echo Fox is a team that loves to initiate fights. They always look for plays. TSM, reactive? Hey, that works for us. We'll let you try and start the fights.
Yeah, TSM had a little bit of pressure to begin with here because they did have more people on that side of the map, but like this was set up by the fact that Huni was trying to greet harass on the Scuttle Crab. And then here, well, they had 3 bottom. Surely we can walk into the enemy jungle. Dardoch wanted to go for something, and TSM punishes it quite well.
I think they're just rushing too much. Like, if I see this setup, it's like, look at the butt way, right? It's not even close to hitting turret. So Huni can just sit back, like, relax. Like, they'll take top turret for free. And instead, they're just rushing things. Dada walks into the jungle. He doesn't even have to go into the jungle. I think Fox always, like, makes these kind of mistakes because Huni's really good at playing with like pressure game, but when he's not the one hitting turret, he's still trying to pressure, and I think that's when it goes wrong.
I think one of the largest beneficiaries of those early mistakes from Echo Fox was Grig in the jungle. He quickly picked up 5 kills on the Kindred, but again, I'm coming back to you, Santorin, because we had some questions about the build path given the comp he was up against.
Yeah, I mean, when I see a comp with no tanks and like a bunch of damage, I'd assume you do Warrior, because Warrior is the best like at doing damage against squishies, and then after that he gets 5 kills, and instead of like going straight into Black Cleaver, he goes to QSS, and it's like, let's say like you get hit by something, like it's gonna happen at some point, right? But like you don't have a threat when you're putting all your money into QSS, whereas like if you have Black Cleaver, he can literally like take over the entire game with Warrior.
I have a stat to back this up.
All right, hit me.
He started 5-0, Grig, and did less damage than every single player on Echo Fox. Smoothly did more damage than Grig this game.
Whoa.
It's a Morgana.
Try and justify
Not the best build.
No, without a doubt, not the best build. But this isn't the only mistake that we need to point out for TSM, because again, with some advantages in their favor, they still made enough mistakes to allow the game to fall back over towards Echo Fox. And so we're going to pull up one more replay. This, a TSM pick, but not choosing to do anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, this was actually a very proactive play where Mithy found a great flank and set up an early kill. And while it was on to the support, they also got the flash out of Lost. And from here, they have all the tools they need to continue to bait Baron.
Look at this. They have a Mountain Drake. They have a Kindred who does percent health damage. They have a Blade of the Ruin King Varus. It is a 4v5. The 80 carry doesn't have flash. Santorin, what do you do?
I mean, I think here they don't even have to contest midway. They just walk to Baron, and either they start it or they bait it. It depends how they feel like. But like here, like who's gonna face check from Fox? Like whoever walks in is gonna die, or at least burn flashes.
Right, there was no blue trinket on the side of Echo Fox to face check or to check, and they have a bunch of squishies.
Yeah, and Mithy had flash on Alistar. Like you're ready to go with another combo, and you have decent enough vision to see where people are coming from, and you have Feast to finish it off, so it's not really a 50-50 Baron if they come slowly.
And this is what they do. They recall.
I was like, I thought there was no more to this replay.
The replay doesn't go any further, but
that's the situation that got them to the late game situation where Huni was crazy. And also, I got a question for you, Santorin. We were hypothesizing that maybe there was a little bit of FlyQuest PTSD for TSM. Like they had lost to a solo split pusher pushing their base. Do you feel like TSM might have been overly defensive for most of the game in fear of getting backdoored?
I can definitely see that point, but I think if I played against like us and like we see how it went out, it's because they went down mid. So make a play around Baron, like force something, just force something. And it's like going down mid like they did in this game too. It's like if you go to Baron, they have to face check. And if they face check, you get a fight, which you'll probably win. And if you win a fight, you get Baron. And then once you're a Baron, it's like you can just go to the Nalcs and just push him out all the way and you'll probably win the game.
I've got a follow-up to that, and this is a somewhat loaded question, but we have seen so many games end in this fashion. This split in the NALCS as compared to almost any split in history, let alone the most recent ones. Why is this happening all of a sudden? Have teams forgotten all of a sudden how to play the macro game? Is this a result of split pushers just being more viable, damage? Like, where are these game endings coming from?
I think it's a bit of both. Like the people play like stuff like Jace and stuff like that you can actually push touch really fast. And it's that a lot of time it's like nah versus Cho'Gath matchups where it's like you need to help the Cho'Gath or make a play, like either or. And if you don't make a play, it's gonna look like this game, for example. And I think that's because of also bad macro.
Yeah, I think what was interesting too is at the start of the split when there was so much going on with the funnel and the bruisers bot lane and the mages bot lane, we were told by a couple different teams like you can't split push in this meta. There's no chance.
Right.
And so it's possible that people kind of like forgot how to play against it. Like, you know, top lane carries were still a thing. There was, you know, the Darius and stuff like that, but it wasn't, Darius is not like a split push 1v5 in the game kind of guy. Whereas we're starting to see more of that, and if people were not practicing against split push, they might have forgot how to react.
Final point.
I think people are also more willing to play chicken with it. Huni's build is never going to teleport into a team fight. He will die in 2 seconds. So he's actually just way more one-dimensional about it and forces the issue. So either he kills the Nexus or his team just gets run over by 5 people. You're forcing the issue. Previously, we'd see so many more people just teleport into a team fight, and it becomes this kind of wash.
Well, the craziness continues here in the NALCS. Santorin, thank you so much for being here for this game specifically. Right? Exactly. I'm so glad we secured you for this one. Up next, we've got One of Thieves versus Golden Guardians. And later on NALCS Tonight, we're bringing back League Pictionary with Freak, Zyrene, and Aframu, and Otto. Stick around during the break to vote on what they drop.
Turns back into Mininar right as Griggs shows up, making sure that he makes the gank onto that more vulnerable opposing player. And first blood.
I'm moving up. I'm coming first. I'm coming first. Come on, Varus. Chase. Oh, I'm just gonna base. I'm gonna base. Let's go.
You guys are gonna win. Show no flash. Oh, you guys can go. I think that guy still has no flash, Huni. I'm not sure though. Nice. Nice, boys.
Finding there over the wall. Oh my God! Gameplay button.
There was a Morgana there 1 second ago, I swear to you.
I got Lucian. Okay. I'll start to shoot die here.
I'm dead. Ali will die. They're all on Huni.
I got Lucian. Back. Two for two. Hella good.
They've got to try to get out of here as Echo Fox wants to end the game. I think this is Huni on an access. He's got the minion wave. He's got lost. And Echo Fox has got their win.
Welcome to Level Up, presented by State Farm. With Kindred back in the meta, we want to make sure you know how to use and wolf down those passive marks. At 0 stacks, Kindred has an auto attack range of 500, the same as Lucian. At 4 stacks, Lamb and Wolf unlock a bonus 75 range. This puts Kindred on par with Varus. Pick up early marks found on easier to execute camps, both in the jungle and in lane. And you could, theoretically, outrange any marksman in the game.
Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take us? Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe. As I dive in, blood stains washing underneath brown waves.
Hello there, friends and foes alike. We're gearing up for Game 4 of the day with 100 Thieves versus the Golden Guardians. It's time to get things rolling with the starting roster. Selecting blue side, it's 100 Thieves with Someday in the top lane. Anda in the jungle. Ryu at mid with Cody Sun bottom lane supported by Afromoo and Coach Prawley.
The Anda pose is so good. And challenging them on the red side today is going to be Golden Guardians in the top lane. Lorlo in the jungle. Contracts. Mid lane is going to be Mickey. Bot and support going to be Deathly and Matt with head coach Tyler and strategic coach X Special.
Now, yesterday, 100 Thieves lost out in the battle for first place despite making a lot of really aggressive early plays.
Yeah, I mean, once the game reached 30 minutes, it didn't feel like they kind of had the answers in their comp that they really needed to take down some of those frontliners, right? When you draft for this kind of poke Varus, lethality Varus, you need other answers to kill off people like Cho'Gath and Mundos, and some of the teams haven't been super mindful about that. So we'll see if they're kind of keeping that in consideration for their drafts today.
Well, another team that caught themselves in rather narrow win conditions yesterday was Golden Guardians, who needed to win the lane if they wanted to win the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I felt like their plan was, you pick AD Kennen, you slam the Gnar in this matchup, and then you split push to victory, right? And as soon as that falls apart, just as we saw it happen today against Cloud9, then there's not really much else left in the tank, right? AD Kennen is not a great team fighter, does not have the same kind of oomph that an AP Kennen has in flanks or anything like that, so you have to win your lane or you basically are worthless, and that is kind of where they drafted themselves. So we're going to see if they go for a more well-rounded draft, or if they're going to go for a narrow win condition, you have to super focus on making that work. Get that AD Kennen ahead. Get whatever your win condition is ahead.
And Golden Guardians really want to pick up a win here in the 4-game losing streak that they're on. Golden Guardians finished the first round robin, the first half of the split, 5-4 on their record. They are currently 0-4 in the second round robin. They need to turn those fortunes around if they want to be one of those teams that makes it into playoffs and has a postseason.
Yeah, I mean, they really were looking like a playoff caliber team, and they are kind of slipping further and further down in the standings. They're starting to really struggle to kind of close out these games, and I still don't think they look really anything like Golden Guardians from last split, which was feeling kind of more hopeless. But they have these bright moments. They're just not always piecing it all together, and I think that one of the catalysts that they had for a lot of their victories was Mickey and his individual play on some of these assassins. It has been a bit since we have seen him kind of really truly take over a game.
Well, it was also a stylistic change, right? I mean, we saw him use things like the smite mid with a Talon roaming around and taxing chicken camps and going crazy, but you can't really use that strategy much. I will never forget the game of normals I played with Zyrene where he played mid smite and took all my chicken camps, and I will never be able to recover from that. It was not a meta that I like. I am glad to see it gone, but I don't believe Golden Guardians feels the same because of the success they found on that with their mid laner. We'll see what they put him on today, but both bot lanes have already been picked up by both these teams. It's Braum Varus on the side of Golden Guardians, going up against the lovers duo of Xayah and Rakan, drafted for 100 Thieves.
It's very interesting because, talking about kind of the smite mid changes hurting Golden Guardians, well, that's something that a lot of people talked about hurting 100 Thieves as well, right? But they're still near the top of the standings, sitting at 8-5. They had been doing so much funnel, really kind of doing it better and feeling more dependent upon that than any other team in the league, but they have been able to quickly adapt, go back to kind of their ways in spring, where it was just drafting and playing around Cody Sun in the bottom lane. Someday is still having incredible individual performances, and that is really working for the squad.
100 Thieves was a team that seemed so comfortable with funnel, like you said in spring, even when it wasn't like the meta, it was exactly what worked for them. I won't forget that the infamous Caitlyn game where it was just Caitlyn and a bunch of meatballs, and at the end of the game it was like 68% damage share or something for Cody Sun before funnel had ever become a thing, before the big changes in summer of 2018. But we are through the first part of the draft here. Gragas, the third pick for the side of the Golden Guardians. 100 Thieves also having the Zoe along with the Xayah and Rakan. LeBlanc and Yasuo banned out by the Thieves. Very common bans if you've got Zoe and they haven't picked their mid laner. You want to shut down some of those counter picks that can make her life difficult in the mid lane, while the bans from the Golden Guardians are going to be two of those more carry-oriented top laners in the Gnar and the GP. They must have seen what happened last game with Huni's Gnar. They don't want to deal with something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're trying to really take advantage of Someday, hey, you need to limit this guy's champion pool. He has been such a monster throughout the season. We could just see him go for something safe like a blind pick Mundo. That can be hard to really take advantage of. If the Mundo is willing to give up farm in bad matchups, it feels very tough to kind of push it past just the CS advantage unless you get jungle help. But yesterday, obviously, they went for that kind of split push strategy. They went for the AD cannon into the Gnar matchup. Lorlo had counterpick. That did not work out. So we'll see if Golden Guardians is going to look for that or just grab themselves another tank. Wow, a blind Jace. That is a statement from Someday. He says, all right, give me your best counterpick. He's not
Chad
playing
pick.
anything safe. This is,
Chad pick in the top lane.
This is
blind
throwing down the gauntlet.
Jace. It does not get any more duel than that.
Yeah.
This is you challenging your opponent, saying, all right, what do you got? Here's what we're going to play.
And if Lorlo just locks Ornn, he's like, all right, I guess you win. You know, it's kind of giving up your counter pick, right? It's not that it can't be a strong pick. Poppy, I think, can fight more evenly against the Jace, and Poppy, you know, being able to kind of interrupt the hammer form jump has some power there. You know, with gank assistance, I think that Poppy plus Gragas certainly have the potential to take down Jace. In that 1v1, it will be tough for Poppy early on, but if Poppy can get some help with ganks, if Poppy can survive, you get to a certain level of tankiness where all of a sudden you don't care about what that Jace is doing and you can run him down. So this is certainly one of those matchups that the tank can start to take over.
Lorlo does also enjoy the fact that he's playing in the NA LCS, which means he's up against NA Jace, which has a debuff compared to most other Jaces. So that is one thing that could go the way of Golden Guardians. Someday, though, like you said, this guy has put up some heroic performances for 100 Thieves so far this split. He's been the guy who's held the Nexus before. He's been the guy who's had these amazing numbers in terms of even his economy and farming up when he wasn't the recipient of a funnel. So if there is somebody who can break the memes and defeat NA Jace by becoming true Jace, I would have to say it's Someday.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. This guy has had, you know, coming into this week, ridiculous forward percentages. You know, he's spending almost half his time across on the other side of the map. You know, not neutral, not on his side, very aggressively. He had 10 solo kills coming into this week, which is just an absurd amount. And, you know, obviously a tremendous amount of confidence going into this matchup here as well, blind picking the Jace. It's more of what the guys were talking about on the desk. All in on that split push.
But if you look at the side, honestly, if we look at both sides, we've got some serious engage potential here. You've got a Rakan along with the Sejuani on the side of 100 Thieves. That's plenty of ability to pull the trigger and go for something big. Sleepy Trouble Bubble on Ryu can also set those up, provide a lot of pick potential. But on the other side, too, you've got the Gragas Barrel. You've got the ability to find something with a Shockwave or a Chains of Corruption, and Poppy can obviously find the slams under the walls here, too. So I like the amount of playmaking potential. It shows me that both these teams can easily put themselves in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that, you know, there is good engage on her Thieves side, and as you said on Golden Guardians, I mean, they have a lot of kind of AoE combos that they can pull off, a lot of engage and teamfight ultimates. You know, the Poppy ultimate, too, one of the changes a while back with the Snapcast, you are targetable during that Snapcast, so you can actually Snapcast, knock someone up, and shockwave them directly out of that, which is very hard to deal with at times. That's one of the kind of powerful things that they can use to set up their own fights.
All right, now that we've got ourselves through the draft, let's go ahead and toss things over to Avali and Prawley for a sideline report.
Thanks, guys. Probably we saw Someday locking in that Jace. Tell me about the decision-making behind it and what we should expect.
Someday's a pretty good player, and I think he's shown he can play carries really well. And I really expected GGS to call us on that and play a carry top matchup, but I think they chickened out and played Poppy. So I think good luck to top lane, and let's see what happens up there.
Tell me more specifically about how Jace is going to play into this team comp.
Theirs didn't have enough like really easy engage for us, so I think we could get away with playing a splitter. And this is just a champion that Someday's really good at too. So it just all the stars aligned.
And a lot of people are putting focus on Mickey and Deathly in bot lane. Are you worried about those carries at all?
Oh no, they gave us Zyra Khan, so like bot lane's going to be really good. Top lane's going to be good. I think we got too many picks that we liked.
Glad you're sounding confident. Back to the casters.
Just the right mix of confidence and spice coming out from Prawley there, having a lot of faith in his team and their draft. The delay on stage was due to a spill on the side of Golden Guardians, but it looks like we got everything cleaned up and ready to go, and we are hopping into Summoner's Rift for the 4th time today to see which of these two teams will emerge victorious. Will Prawley be proved correct, or do the Golden Guardians have the answer?
Yeah, Prawley sounded very, very confident there, and seen a lot of corrupting potions. Just quickly kind of we're going to talk a little bit about that, and it's just a lot about the interaction between Time Warp Tonic and corrupting potion. Just give you a tremendous amount of actual sustain and kind of helping you with those trades when the corrupting potion is active. So pretty strong setup, and we're seeing it more and more. We saw it yesterday on some of the Varuses playing that. Not going to be here, but both Ryu and Someday are going to be running that setup for 100 Thieves, and
Lorlo has corrupting, but no Time Warp Tonic. Just opting instead for the area along with the backup defense as a result.
Yeah, and some people may be surprised to see the area. You know, traditionally you had seen a lot of grasp on Poppy, but area is something I'd been seeing pop up a lot more in solo queue, even some area ignite Poppies playing the lanes very aggressively. You can proc your area just by throwing your passive shield and kind of consistently use it for this harass. And if the Jace is stepping forward for trades, you have to remember that not only are your range minions going to retaliate, now the Poppy can look to try to throw that passive out, proc Airy, you know, and try to whittle you down, poke you out, and that's one of the reasons that Someday is going for such a high sustain build, even in a lane that he should be dominating, because he knows he's going to be taking return damage. He is going to be taking those minion aggro and wants to be able to stay healthy and keep his push up.
We'll definitely be keeping eyes on that Jace throughout this game. When you make a pick like that, you've got to make sure it's being watched, because it can run away with the game or it can turn into a big oversized caster minion with a hammer. Yeah. We don't know, but we will find out as this game plays out. Taking a look at mid lane, Mickey versus Ryu here. Zoe versus Orianna. Zoe, a champion that's been in the meta for a long time now, incredibly powerful with the pick potential. And Ori, one of those that's come back more recently as just one of those picks that everybody's saying, oh wait, Ori goes with pretty much everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so safe. You know, you can blind pick it against basically everything. Has strong wave clear. It's team fighting. Once you have a couple items, incredibly powerful. You know, it really is just a strong all-around champion. It's kind of, to me, similar to like how Corki was when Corki was in the meta, where people just like, well, this is going to be fine no matter what they play. So Mickey will be playing it, and you know, I think a lot of the game really can come down to how this top lane goes. You know, Probably said they expected a carry versus carry. Lorlo kind of chickened out. He is going for the tank, but it's one of those situations where Jace is not like a hyper-scaling split pusher like a Fiora where you just have to wait and then you win. It's a split pusher, but you have to win early and get advantages and create those edges that you can continue to push, or you will fall off. You will be outscaled.
Anza's hanging around this top side here, but I think trying to attempt to dive this early on into the game against a Poppy is so risky.
Yeah, and I think he was just looking to actually take away the Krugs. He was not expecting Contracts to have taken that down. And this also gives him a little bit of coverage to say, all right, Someday, you're safe to push up. You are safe to harass this guy under turret and try to create an advantage for yourself.
Someday does feel that safety now with his jungler on the top part of the map. Means he can just set up shop underneath that turret, stay right behind the minion line, provide that poke consistently and constantly. As 100 Thieves bottom lane will back up underneath their turret. Contracts decides to move into the enemy jungle himself. He's also maybe looking for a set of Krugs here, but he will find it.
Yeah, because again, you know, it's Lorlo is just trying to survive where somebody's trying to expand that advantage. He does not want to just trade farm. He does not want to just go even needs to be pressuring
not the
turret.
point of Jace.
Exactly. You have to be pressuring turret. You have to be pressuring this guy's health bar non-stop. And so far doing a pretty good job of it. You can see he also went for biscuits, so really heavy in the sustain. Lorlo will have a tough time whittling this guy down. You're not going to get him down just by hitting your passive shield on him and proccing Airy. He has way too much sustain for that.
Lorlo did decide to go back rather early as soon as he had the gold for the Dorian shield to pick that one up. Nice interrupt there from Anda. Making sure Contracts doesn't get the back timing he was looking for. Stun coming out there as well. Afromoon not getting the knock-up means Contracts isn't in any real danger. Can just body slam over the wall.
Yeah, Contracts does go a little bit ahead in the farm, though, because not only did he full clear his own side, he stole away the Krugs from his opponent because Anda stopped to not do with the Krugs. He wanted to go up top and kind of was anticipating the Contracts would leave his up, that there would be a trade. Instead, Contracts varies up that jungle path. He's going to go up a camp and, as a result, be up some experience.
Yeah, he's got his whole bottom side still left to clear, so despite being taken a little bit low there by Anda, not too worried about it as Someday makes his TP back into the top side. Two more long swords under his belt means the damage will just continue pouring into Lorlo here. Yeah. As Someday is going to make sure his opponent is very familiar with the scenery underneath this turret.
Yeah, and I mean, Lorlo doesn't have his TP, right? So every chunk now matters so much more. If you get pushed in, if you lose that turret early on, it's going to be tough against this Jace. And Lorlo trying to invest heavily in that early game, grabbing an early Doran shield, having the corrupting potion. He's just trying to do his very best to just withstand the lane, trying to survive and get to that point with tabbies, with enough armor that he can really start to do something about it. maybe now calling contracts up to try to look to punish this Jace who is so shoved in.
You can still see Anda on that top side of the map, though. With Scuttle Crab spawning in the top river, you have to be pretty aware that both junglers will know that's going to be there. They will want to prioritize this side to begin with just for that. Anda sees contracts at the chicken camp. We could have ourselves a good old-fashioned smite fight over the big chicken here. There comes your whip. Big chicken still at a decent amount of HP. Who got that?
Contracts got it.
Contracts got it.
He got most of the camp, so well done there by Contracts. Zoe was actually collapsing first. Mickey's under his turret, but Contracts, calm play, good smite, takes away the camp, and heading, he did kind of a little bit of a more tricky path, tried to wrap around and head back towards top. Not sure if that actual ward by the chickens did catch him or not, but either way, he's still up here on the top side of the map. So is Anda, who's taking that scuttle, so potential for 2v2, even a 3v2, as you can see Ryu roaming up as well. They want to get a dive, they want to actually kill off this Poppy, but now they know Contracts is here.
Poppy ult finds its way onto Sunday's Jace. However, the Sleepy Trouble Bubble does connect onto Contracts. Damage coming through with the Paddle Star here. TP going to be used from the side of Golden Guardians. Looking to shut this one down. 100 Thieves still looking to find the damage first. Sunday's going to be targeted down now by the turret. Lorlo trying to escape. 100 Thieves look to find the damage, and they have it. Here. Attacks coming through. Mickey wants to find the damage onto these guys. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble doesn't hit the mark. Mickey wants to provide that extra little bit of burst. They will do it. The kill goes over to Matt. They wanted to donate that to Mickey, but they'll still take the even trade there, as now the 80 carries are going into the 1 versus 1 bottom side. Oh. Piercing arrow comes out. Nice sidestep there from Cody Sun.
Yeah, that was a big sidestep there from Cody Sun. Would have taken a ton of damage with some of those blight stacks already up on him. Already fairly low as well, but yeah, it is that 2v2 trade. I feel like Contracts played that a little bit too aggressively. The body slam forward here, when you know it's a 3v2 now, why go forward in on your opponent? Why not kind of just step back and try to play that a little bit more passively? Buy more time for Ryu to come up, and instead, they do have Braum TPing in. It is that first kill that goes for somebody over onto Contracts. Lorlo doing a good job to survive as long as possible, gets a trade kill, buys some time for Mickey to finally have walked all the way up here, and that's sleep. That was getting close.
Yeah, that's, I don't know if that's some spaghetti or linguine or what, but that looked like it was right on top of him.
There is a thing where it's, I believe the Z axis doesn't really show in the spectator because it's like essentially like, the spectator is not directly ahead, like overhead, you know what I mean?
Right, where the camera's at an angle.
Exactly, the camera's at an angle, so sometimes those skill shots that do miss can look like they should hit in some weird circumstances. Either way, Contracts back up here to the top side, does have his ultimate available.
This is the important insight that I get from somebody who used to be on the playtest team. I didn't know these kind of things. I didn't know about the Z-axis. You learn something new every day. As Ryu is about to try to make something happen at the mid lane, but topside is Someday, who's in some trouble. Contracts moves in and makes sure he provides some relief for Lorlo.
Yeah, they get that kill. That's going to be a big one. No TP available for Someday, so he's going to miss out on these minion waves. It means Lorlo is going to kind of close the gap in the farm. Lorlo getting closer to that tanky state that he needs to be at, has the tabbies now, and again, somebody needs those advantages early. He needs to be pressuring turrets for this pick to really pay off.
With the ultimate down on the Contracts there, but I mean, not really a lot of opportunity to make something happen.
Yeah, it was a well-timed body slam, I felt like. That really kind of created a lot more space between him and Ryu. Had he maybe not got that body slam off, maybe Ryu can catch up, maybe he can get a follow-up there. Either way, Contracts is gonna get away easy peasy. Still has the ultimate in the bag for any potential body slam ultimate play that he could look for.
Ryu does have both summoner spells down as well. You saw him drop an Ignite onto Mickey during that river scuffle, but it wasn't fake Ignite. It was one from Zoe W. So both those summoner spells down on Ryu means he is vulnerable. Because remember, as much as we talk about the strengths of Zoe, one of the weaknesses of the champion is you don't have true mobility.
Yeah.
You have the ultimate, which jumps you forward, but then you are put back into the spot that you originated from. So if you can get that Gragas onto that enemy mid laner, provide the supplementary damage with Mickey, there is potential.
Yeah, exactly. If Gragas forces out an ultimate, you set the ball on top of where the ultimate's going to come back to. But here is a potential 2v2 on the top side. Contracts getting low.
Very, very low. Nice interrupt there. Someday will not be able to complete the jump with To the Skies, but he still got the damage with the auto attacks. They make sure they give that one over to him. So the gold keeps on coming in. Nice turnaround there from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and a really well-timed counter gank there. Being up on the top side, you can't allow Someday to just be getting picked on like this. So he comes in, they turn that fight around, and again, a kill goes on to Someday. They're allowing him to have that pressure. So very important little swing there 400 Thieves.
The bottom side, it's going to be a full-on 2v2. Aframu and Cody Sun just decide to disengage this one. Matt is low on mana, but Cody can stay the same. And without the ultimate to rely on anymore, after having to use it to disengage that, they're saying, nope, we're going home.
Yeah, and now you're seeing Lorlo have to kind of just back off the turret. He doesn't know if the Sejuani is just waiting to dive him, right? So he's kind of backing up a little bit. He's trying to play it safe. His turret is getting very low as a result. And it is trying to take this Rift Herald, and pretty darn low doing it. We should be able to knock it down here. Will he die, though? He might.
Ooh, Mickey's close. And nope. No way out of that one. Mickey picks up the free 300 gold. Double bubble comes out. Yeah, but Ryu won't even be able to get close enough to give the paddle star.
You know, and that gives up his life, but at least he did trade kind of for that Rift Herald. So he grabs the Rift Herald for himself, and we're going to have to find out, can he make that Rift Herald pay off, right? Is that worth giving up your life? And we'll find out if he's going to be able to do it later on. Either way, so far the bottom lane going fairly even. You know, we heard Prawley talk about the fact that, hey, bottom lane has Xayah Rakan. They gave us too many things that we like. This is going to be very comfortable down there on the bot side. But despite that, Matt is the one who TP'd top lane with the spellbook. Matt is the one who got a kill elsewhere on the map. And they're still up a little bit in farm. So this lane is doing quite well for the Golden Guardians on the bottom side of the map. And all things considered, the fact that they're up gold and Lorlo is not, you know, devastatingly behind to this Jace, the early game has gone pretty well.
How that transitions now into the mid game, as we will see more large fights, better skirmishes, as the catch could potentially find its way now onto Contract, who's completely exploded by the power of 100 Thieves. Drowsy makes its way over onto Mickey, who has to use the cleanse to get away from that one, as 100 Thieves will take the 1-for-0.
Yeah, Someday cancels his TP, and Lorlo completes it. So Someday now just gets that turret top lane, and is going to be able to get a solo first turret here. A lot of gold going to be in his pockets. He already has the Blade of the Rune King. That is very big for him. And at the same time, they're going to take mid lane turret. That's such a big swing.
Yeah, that's a huge swing for 100 Thieves. In a game that was 100 gold apart, it's now 2,000 gold apart, thanks to one pick, one botch teleport, and Golden Guardians now find themselves in not nearly as good of a position.
Yeah, definitely. And not only that, but you also have TP advantage now, because Someday cancels his TP, so that's going to be up a lot faster, and they're going to have that edge for themselves too. It makes it harder for Golden Guardians to even try to make a play elsewhere on the map, knowing Jace could join more quickly than Lorlo can on this Poppy. And here it is one more time. They're trying to kind of bail out Contracts, but Contracts is probably already dead to rights. So maybe Golden Guardians should just accept that death and not join in the play. Unfortunately for them, the TP came in. 100 Thieves easily disengages.
Meanwhile, Mickey finds himself in the grave yet again. We'll have to see how that ended up playing out, as the Infernal Drake did go over to Golden Guardians. So they'll pick that objective up at the cost of their mid laner.
Yeah, and that's a good trade. I think that if you can grab the Infernal for one death and you can keep your turrets alive in the meantime, you're going to be pretty happy about that. 100 Thieves, 3 men down here on the bottom side, trying to threaten that turret, though.
Also 3-man defense from the side of Golden Guardians. It will not be easy to force this turret down. We'll see maybe if that changes as Ryu makes his way over. Does have the Chilling Smite ready to go from the W.
Yeah, they're actually trying to send 5-man bot. You can see Poppy's running down here instead of going back top. Oriana's coming as well. Golden Guardians want to make a play here, but they're getting kind of poked out under this turret.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble doesn't find anybody just yet. Ryu flashes over the wall. Real flash. Aframu gets himself away with the dash as well, and Golden Guardians cannot collapse in time.
Not too bad, though. Lorlo kind of roaming down, does get the flash, and still has some time, so he shouldn't miss too much of that farm up on the top side. Here is Mickey, though, in the mid lane. And is just straight up coming from behind him. Nice Q flash there. Drowsy to follow it up, and just gets exploded. Doesn't have any of his summoners available, so nothing he can really do there. And now the dive on the bottom side.
Cody. Oh! Nice shot from Deftly, making sure they shut him down there. As Anda
still in turret
tries to get away. Takes a few more shots on the way out. Good punish there from Golden Guardians.
Yeah, well handled. I mean, the 2v2 comes into a 3v2 as Anda shows up, but definitely able to survive long enough. Trades that kill back. Well done by him. And Mickey again getting pressured here in the mid lane. It really does feel like it's 100 Thieves that are kind of dictating the pace of the game. They are the ones on the offensive, but they are also the ones that have more of a need to be on the offensive with this Jason.
All right, let's take Acer Predator replay, take another look at exactly how this backfired on the Thieves.
Yeah, nice engage immediately there from Aframu, but Matt already had his stand behind me up. He is blocking so much there, and we're going to jump out of that as some action brewing here on the bottom side.
It never stops.
It never stops. Golden Guardians trying to threaten a dive. But it looks like much ado about nothing as Cody-san will back off.
All right, Golden Guardians. I like the fact that they're not brute forcing it, though. The fact that they had those errors yesterday in the game against TSM shows that they likely went back. They looked at that. They said, okay, we gave too much. This wasn't TSM taking things because they were in control. This was us getting a little bit too itchy to make something happen and just forcing it in the wrong time.
Yeah, and they know all too well that how a game can look when you draft kind of a narrow win condition, such as the AD cannon that they had yesterday, or maybe that Jace that Someday has today, and you don't actually make good on that, right? You don't actually get a big enough lead. You know, Lorlo is hoping that he can be on the opposite side of that. He can neutralize it. He can kind of hold out to the point where the Jace is just going to be worth less than him, and that's kind of what Golden Guardians is shooting for.
And I think that's interesting considering the consequence of yesterday's game when Lorlo was on the cannon and fell drastically far behind and felt like there's nothing that he's able to add or contribute to the team. Instead now, he's opting just completely away from that situation, saying, I'm playing the opposite of what happened yesterday. We're not falling into the same trap. Even if it does go bad, I want to make sure that it goes bad in a way where I feel like I have something to contribute here.
Yeah, Poppy still has a tremendous amount of playmaking, right? You know, Poppy down 40 CS is not an ideal situation. Someday is playing this well, and I would certainly say he is in control of his own destiny at this point. He has enough of a lead. The fact that he knocked down that turret, the fact that he has had pressure means that they are still dictating the pace. But that being said, if there's ever those missteps, if you ever get those kills over onto, and Lorlo starts to really kind of catch up or surpass him in itemization, you just stop hurting the Poppy at a certain point. He just gets way too tanky, and he can wave clear endlessly. He's going to have more impact in team fights, more ability to TP in and join.
It just becomes the end-game Poppy that has 2 or 3 armor items with a Warmogs, and there's no way to 100-0 him, and unless you 100-0 him, you can't kill him. So you're stuck in that eternal stalemate, and that's what Someday will work his damnedest to avoid. As the bottom side, it's Golden Guardians still defending this turret, holding on for dear life. It's got only a little bit of health left there. The last one standing in that outer ring for the side of Golden Guardians. They still have yet to take any turrets down of their own, and that's where this gold lead for 100 Thieves is coming from right now, is that objective control.
It really is, and it's going to kind of take some playmaking from them. It's going to take some great engages that get those fight wins. They can turn them into those turrets.
Here we go. Aframu dash.
Oh, nice ult.
They save. Contracts wants to try to keep him around, but the quickness will get Aframu on out.
Aframu definitely has his Nikes on there. He's speeding out of there.
Gotta go fast.
Ridiculously fast.
Someday continues to push to the top side, though. Lorlo's just sort of watching this fall. There's not much else you can do.
Yeah, I mean, your jungler's on bottom side of the map. You know that Anda's on the top side of the map. You have to just sit back and try to give up the minimum. So he has to sacrifice the turret. Mickey being threatened here as well. And it's, again, it's kind of putting that faith in your team to make good elsewhere on the map. And for now, they didn't get too much out of Afro, just his ultimate down. So we'll see if they can make payoff later.
Oh, Contracts recognizing he had to flash away from that one. Long-range Paddle Star could have easily taken him down there. This is more of the offensive style of Gragas. Runic Echoes, not a Cinder Hulk. Much easier for Zoe to find that huge burst onto.
It definitely is, but with those W changes, you get damage reduction from how much KP you have, so that can be pretty strong, and I've seen a lot more of these kind of tanky AP style builds where it's like Runic Echoes, Zonias, these sorts of things. Sometimes you can see that mixed up or just going into full tank. Yesterday, I believe we saw Dardoch going for a Knight's Vow, then back into the Zonias. So there's lots of options here. It is much more exciting playstyle, I think, though, to watch Gragas. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you can put out some serious burst. If you pull off that perfect combo on a squishy target, like the Zoe, who has no HP built, no mana to this build, you can...
Hey, come on, he's got HP. Oblivion Orb gives you like 200. There's a little bit of HP in there. Okay. You got to give me the QSS MR last game. I get to give you the Oblivion Orb as health this game. We're even now.
We're both technically correct.
Yeah, we're technically correct. Freak's ideal version of correct.
That's what I was going to say, exactly.
The Drake does go over to the side of 100 Thieves. Ocean Drake for them means a little extra regeneration between these rotations, making plays happen. Of course, I think you'd like to see an Infernal compared to that. Golden Guardian's still happy with their current state of the Drake comparison, but 100 Thieves making sure that they don't just allow Golden Guardians to monopolize that means they're limiting those potential late-game win conditions. With the Elder that, honestly, Azael, we've seen more and more games go to that point recently.
Yeah, I mean, when you opt into split push, the game is usually slow to close out, right? You have to kind of grind them out, take those turrets, get those objectives, and that means that Elder and Baron becomes that much more important. Golden Guardians potentially looking for a play here, but we are seeing Someday build as much anti-tank as possible, right? He goes Blade of the Rune King, percentage HP damage. He goes for the Armor Shred here from that Black Cleaver, and now he's building into Last Whisper, likely Lord Dominic's. Again, more damage against higher HP targets, and that Armor Shred as well. He's trying to make sure that Lorlo cannot outpace him too quickly. And if he can stay a step ahead as far as those itemizations go.
Ooh, Aphromoo, again, going to be taken low there. And that's the power of the Runic Echo's Gragas that you were talking about. That's just Contract that took Aphromoo down that low.
Yeah, I mean, that's Thunderlord's proc, the Luden's Echo proc, and his full combo. And you certainly can get someone very, very low. And then when you think, okay, Mickey is on a couple items a little bit later into the game, and a Shockwave follows that up, well, that's just someone dead. So the initiation certainly very scary there, but 100 Thieves have great ways to pull the trigger too, with Sejuani, with Rakan. They can also look to be proactive, and somebody is very far ahead of Lorlo. Obviously, part of that is because of the pressure that has been put on Lorlo, but he is down 60 CS. He is down quite a lot of gold here, about 2,500 gold at the moment because of those turrets that he has grabbed. So Someday in a good position, still in control, and 100 Thieves are looking to kind of get vision around that Barret and perhaps establish another advantage there.
And speaking of vision, I like the fact that even though Contracts knows he's not going to be in a spot to really catch and punish Someday, he's clearing some of the vision out of their own jungle where there were a couple wards from the side of 100 Thieves. He's saying, okay, if nothing else, I want Someday to recognize the fact that we could be collapsing on him, right? As long as you don't allow your opponents to set up that vision properly for the split push, there's always the chance that you're going to be there, and they have to respect.
Yeah, exactly. So then if somebody wants to play with respect, he basically can't just push up and just be autoing that turret until he has seen where everyone else is on the map. Because while he can definitely bully Lorlo in the 1v1, if a second member shows up and he gets comboed, he is going to go down. So now that they have kind of spotted more members, they saw that Gragas was over there by the chickens, he's going to feel a little bit more confident. But again, you're seeing him play, less without impunity, as we saw him on the top side. When he knew the jungle wasn't around, he's always under the turret.
See, Lorlo's health bar just doesn't get to have much fun against a Jace like that. As soon as he's within range, it's going to be auto. As Mickey will evade the Sleepy Trouble Bubble for now. 4 members of 100 Thieves pushing up here into the mid lane. It's Aphromoo deciding to go in with the quickness. Contracts in the back line, still not able to find anything just yet. Will not go forward, hangs out in the back, waiting for his opportunity to maybe punish if the Thieves go too deep. Mickey will be slept up, but he gets blocked out now as Anda's off to the side, will be interrupted there. Nice steadfast presence from Lorlo, looking to maybe interrupt that one as Ryu finds a little bit more damage on the back end of the fight here too. Meanwhile, it's Someday, bottom side, tier 2 turret. You leave this alone, it is gone.
Yep, knocks it down. Lorlo tries to make the roam, tries to make the play. Flash stun over the wall onto Anda, but a very tanky member. They don't have the burst there to follow it up and knock him down, and Somebody's like, all right, well, you can go do that. I'm just going to auto this turret. So he gets down another tier 2, extending that gold lead, and another advantage going the way of 100 Thieves. They almost knocked down that mid lane tier 2 as well.
Golden Guardians is a team, Azael, that we've seen success from in the early game. And last week, despite early game successes in both of their games, they went 0-2 because they weren't able to properly translate those in the mid and late game. And when you have mid and late game calling difficulties, when you don't make the right decisions at the right times, that's that much more stressful against a split push like this, because every wrong decision is strictly a loss that you are taking.
Exactly. Every time, as long as 100 Thieves are pressuring in the mid lane, when Someday has pressure in the side lane, hey, you go to answer, you try to create that team fight. Even if you win that team fight, Someday should get something, right? There's always that cost. It's every move you're going to make. And that's really something that you have to weigh. And it can make it very tough to play against split push. You have to be extremely decisive because you're left with one of two options. You try to collapse and kill the split pusher that you're assuming is inevitably going to take your turrets, or you try to go 5v4 and engage hard on the rest of the squad and knock them down. And if you kind of botch on either side, the other squad will then get an advantage because you don't have enough members left to stop them.
Lord Dominic's regards completed on the side of 100 Thieves as well for the Jace, exactly as you predicted. He's not really too concerned about stopping the healing. Any healing Poppy gets is likely going to be from a Warmog later on out of combat anyway, so the extra armor penetration will make sure that he's able to stay relevant. As Mickey gets bonked a little bit there, but he does have Banshee's Veil. I like the fact that he went for some more magic resistance here. The extra 60 magic resist from that will help in stopping this heavy penetration build from Ryu, just deleting him every time he finds the combo. And there's your attempt at the collapse into the bottom lane. They will get Someday's flash, which is something. but they sadly, for Golden Guardians, will not find any sort of a kill.
And the question becomes, can 100 Thieves pressure elsewhere? And for now, not.
It's actually 100 Thieves getting pressured here in the mid lane until Aphromoo looks to turn it all around. The damage comes through, and Contract's going to be taken down. Immediately, Matt's going to join him there right thereafter as the Drowsy comes through, finds its way onto Deftly. Anda trying to hobble his way out of this one. Ryu is incredibly low HP. Hard to contribute, still might be able to throw in a Paddle Star here or there, but some days decided this is a good enough situation that even Jace can group with the team, will brute force down the mid lane tier 2 and take yet another objective. The turret count is 6-0.
Yeah, 6-0, and that is almost the entire gold lead there. They're up about 7K. And Mickey was really holding on to his shockwave. It felt like he was trying to wait for that perfect moment where he could get multiple members. Maybe it would have been better to just actually commit it and try to just focus down even Anda or one of the tanks, try to knock someone down for sure. Instead, he's waiting for that prime moment, not able to find it just yet here. You can see Anda knocked back towards that turret, taking quite a bit of damage. Mickey getting pushed out, definitely collapsing. Lorlo is flanking in here from the side and knocks out Ryu. That is a strange choice. I mean, Ryu was
maybe he
very
thought the
low.
damage would kill him?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible. He probably didn't calculate in Ryu's heal, right, which Ryu did actually pop there. But in that case, hey, maybe you want to just try to go for the pop and just knock him straight up and then try to finish him off in that. Fortunately for Lorlo, either way, knocks Ryu to safety, and they're not able to convert on any of those kills.
Golden Guardians now find themselves down almost 7,000 gold in this game against 100 Thieves, who with the pickup of their second Ocean Drake are going to be that much harder to resist in this split push game. When your entire goal is just hang out, pressure from afar, let Jace do his thing, the Ocean Drakes very much facilitate that in terms of putting even more pressure on the Golden Guardians to be decisive, like you already said. Exactly. I think that's the perfect way of describing how to fight against this. The decision-making just has to be there. Everyone's got to be on the same page, and if they're not, your Nexus blows up.
Yep, and they will slowly just regen up any mana that they spend. That's going to help Jace with poke. That's going to help Zoe with poke. And Jace is not a tier Jace, right? Without Ocean Dragons, you actually can run out of mana. Corruption, Potion, and Time War Tonic or not. So this is really going to help him out in that regard. That helps him stay out on the map constantly, continue to pressure forward, and 100 Thieves are trying to pressure around the Baron now as well.
Also worth pointing out, QSS, the fourth pickup for some days Jace, wants to make sure that if he does get collapsed on as this game gets later and later in,
this is coming.
He will not be punished, but he wants to rotate over to this fight. Golden Guardians backing themselves up for now. Lorlo's still on the bottom side, does have the TP available. Trouble Bubble finds its way down onto Matt, who's going to go ahead and throw up the shield, make sure the Paddle Star doesn't follow that one.
And this isn't like a full lethality, full poke style Jace, but if he hits a Shock Blast over the wall in one of your squishy characters, they are still going to be very heavily chunked out. That in combination with Ryu is one of the ways that they can kind of get an edge before a fully committed team fight, especially in that late game. You're going to be looking to see a lot of that, and somebody's trying to look for this poke over the wall, trying to find ways that could then prompt the all-in, right? You don't want to just go into a straight-up 5v5 from full, but hey, you hit a couple of Zoe Paddle Stars, you hit a couple Shock Blasts, maybe Aphromoo pulls the trigger, and you find that fight.
And talking about the difference of the way Someday's playing things now, it's worth pointing out that with 6 turrets down on the side of Golden Guardians, 100 Thieves are now tasked with breaking into the base itself, which is significantly harder than just taking out the turrets standing outside of it. Typically, you don't see teams make a lot of progress towards this without Baron up. So Someday's options are becoming a bit more limited just because of how far ahead they are. It's a first world problem.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's one of those situations, though. We're seeing Lorlo trying to just kind of run down Someday, but you can see he's starting to be able to fight back a little bit, right? He's getting close to that Iceborne, and you know, that is a very nice item for the 1v1. He's only 1 level down. You know, he is kind of starting to stabilize. We're not seeing the CS advantage get too much more big, but there they go.
Nice from Contracts there, looking to catch out Ryu. It's not going to be enough, though, as now the counterattack from the Thieves comes in. Contracts taken down as the Chain CC finds its way onto Matt. It's a 2-for-0 going the way of 100 Thieves. Someday's still bottom lane as well. Deftly and Lorlo want to rotate over, potentially stop him, but they won't be fast enough.
Yeah, this could be the straw that broke the camel's back. Golden Guardians try to go for that play there, try to commit and get a pick onto Ryu, but Ryu has a nice flash on the follow of Ferris Ultimate, then picks up another flash, I believe, to be able to actually get out of there even more. It's 100 Thieves on the Baron. Someday never even had to join, and they have taken full control over this game.
Right when I said, a lot of times you need Baron to take the base. It looks like 100 Thieves
Flowers.
have found themselves exactly what they were looking for. 9,000 gold up along with it. Big item purchases coming in. Let's take another look at how this happens.
Yeah, I mean, they feel like they have a good setup here. Contracts with a nice initial engage, body slam flash, ults him back in, but flashes onto the additional flash, dodging the Varus ultimate, allowing himself to create more space, and as that Zhonya ends, not only does Contracts go down, Matt goes down as well, and that was in the 5v4 because Someday did not even join. So Golden Guardians losing out on both sides, 9,000 gold down, Baron buff added in. Gets so hard for Poppy to even try to wave clear against this Jace now.
Turns out, Flash is a good ability. 2 flashes, twice as good.
Maybe even more than twice as good.
I mean, when it makes a play like that, when it gets you the Baron and a couple of kills, I don't even know how high the multiplier goes, but it is damn good for 100 Thieves, who now are pushing up further into enemy territory, laying down the vision, setting up the pick potential. All they need is an Afromu, an Anda, or a Ryu setup, and they can immediately decide to go in for a fight.
And you can see Afromu and Cody-san pushing up on the top side of the map, trying to play this slow, grind-em-out game. Someday in bot lane, triple lanes of Baron minions. They're buffing up all these minions, making it so there's just not enough wave clear in the kit of Golden Guardians to really answer this, and the turrets are going to start to fall. This is the first inhibitor turret getting knocked down. Golden Guardians have to engage somewhere, but where do you find it? 100 Thieves will just back up wherever you attack and try to push elsewhere.
Orlo still in some trouble here against Sundays. He's trying to walk up. He's trying to be heroic and make a stand, but it's so hard to do when you're this far behind. Golden Guardians will look to defend 3 different points, but they'll lose 1 in the top side. They're about to lose the 2nd in the bottom lane. The 3rd in mid under pressure. That final inhibitor turret will fall here. Bottom side inhibitor. They'll leave the cannon minion to do it. Someday walks up and grabs the last hit on that. It's 1 lane left. Golden Guardians still trying to hold on here. Afromu pops the quickness just to zone everyone away, make them back up. Golden Guardians now looking to go in. Nice dodge away with the ulti there from Cody-san. Ryu also backing himself out into the back line. Someday on the flank. Its Contracts already dead as 100 Thieves find 1, and they'll continue to push straight into the Nexus turrets.
100 Thieves just completely choking them out with this Baron. It looks like this is going to be it, Flowers.
I want to go back to what Avali and Prawley talked about, because Prawley was confident that this would work out. He was confident in the Jace, in the team as a whole, and in their draft, and it has worked out wonderfully so far. 13,000 gold up. 1 Nexus turret left standing for their opponents. They'll knock that one down here in just a moment. Golden Guardian still 4 versus 5 for the next 15 seconds. Lorlo on the front line going to be taken very low, has to flash away, but it's only back to the fountain to watch the Nexus fall, and 100 Thieves will take the win.
Such a well-played game here from 100 Thieves, really just enabling Someday on this Jace 2 split push. I think Anda had a fantastic early game, really being up there to counter gank a couple times, being up there to kind of get him some advantages, to put him ahead in the early stages, and then Golden Guardians was never able to find that engage that would work out for them, to crush the split push on the side lane or to find that 5v4. Every time they tried to go for it, 100 Thieves was either able to win out or disengage, and the push would continue from Someday. And 100 Thieves play it patient, they play it smart, and they grind out another win.
Prawley's words were, they gave us too many champions we wanted, too many picks we wanted, something along those lines. And you could tell this was a comp this team felt comfortable with. The ability to avoid getting engaged on. Ryu in the mid lane, when it looked like Contracts had found such a good engage onto him, going for the flash so he could make sure he had both of them to outplay that, set up the counterattack, and make it so his team could then get Baron was also huge. Every single member of the Thieves played this one well.
Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, Ryu quietly had a fantastic game, so much damage, so much poke, always creating presence around that mid lane, buying time for Someday.
100 Thieves as a whole worked together, they made it happen, they found their win, and to break down that match, let's send it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. First off, we got to welcome Darshan to the desk to help us work through this one. And because there was a lot of top lane focus, again, very topical and grateful that we have a top laner on the desk. But this was a peculiar game because it almost felt like the teams traded places in terms of the game plans that they laid out for themselves and how they approached attacking this game.
Yeah, I think in a sense, we are used to 100 Thieves drawing the game out to late game, playing a really good mid-priority pressure game and kind of getting Baron and picks. And they did need to play a little bit more up-tempo here. So if they did get to super late game with even gold, it might not work super well.
GP is a Gragas, just in case anyone is confused at that jungle GP pick. That is not actually that champion.
I didn't even notice that.
But the late game mark.
Right? Late game jungle GP. But yeah, to your point, I actually agree that like, while it's not uncommon to see somebody on a counter pick, it's usually one that's still going to function pretty well in team fights, whereas this is a distinctly 4-1 comp that the other team probably outscales.
Yeah, typically they try and go for like the Mundo, they try and scale more, but this time they went for the more aggressive Jace. And then you saw Lorlo go with the Poppy, which I think can do well into the Jace, but when you have a Poppy and a jungle Gragas and you have 2 tanks, that's not going to really be the best thing to take down the Jace. And if Jace just gets to get his advantage and keep scaling and have the pressure in the side lane, there's not much they can do.
I got a question. Do you think there's a pick that is like an actual counter pick to Jace, or is Jace just the lane priority god?
Jace, like first 3 levels, he doesn't really lose to any champion, but you can go champions like Camille, you can go champions like Aurelia and stuff like that, and you can end up winning like level 4, level 5. But I think first 3 levels, Jace is pretty unmatched.
Yeah, I remember probably in the post-game interview mentioned how like they were actually expecting Lorlo to call bluff and go aggressive. But then I also remember their game yesterday when they picked Kennen and Dinar and it didn't
go well.
So maybe this was like a fear pick of let's pick the really defensive option and take a little bit of a loss.
Absolutely. Another interesting thing here is just the idea that 100 Thieves is trying something new when they are sitting in solid position within the standings, playing the style that they had been playing up to this point. And so I think a lot of questions were immediately raised seeing this draft, which was how will they execute on it, right? Will they actually be able to, to pull through with this strategy? So I want to turn our attention to a multitude of turret dives that they attempted to pull off. Some good, some bad. Break it down for me.
Yeah, I mean, the Poppy plays this one pretty well by ejecting the Jace out right away, and now Ryu's a little bit far forward, and they're still going in while Jace is out of range of anything, so using some cooldowns already.
Yeah, I think 100 Thieves went for a lot of over-aggressive dives this game when they just needed the Jace to like poke out, and so you'd see a lot of TPs coming in, and you see that a lot in this meta. Braum is top lane all of a sudden, 7 minutes into the game, and so now 100 Thieves end up trading 1 for 2, and then it's not the best play for them. So I think they still got the lead on Jace, which matters the most, but I think they had a lot of dives, like this one coming up too, where they just overcommit way too hard.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing where, like, if you're trying to blow the game open, these are the right place to go for. It's just...
But did you need to?
Yeah,
right?
well, one, to Darshan's point, you don't necessarily need to, and it's not what 100 Thieves is great at, so it does feel like a couple of them come up short.
Yeah, I tell you one thing that 100 Thieves is great at, Jet, it is that mid to late macro game. And so when they do have a lead, all of a sudden that 1-3-1, 1-4 style sounds pretty good to me if I've got Aphromu at the helm shot calling.
Yeah, and it overall, even though they messed up some dives, they played the game really well. The 4 in their 4-1 was better than the 4 that Golden Guardians could throw up against them. That helps, but they're already really good at disengaging. So you would think that 100 Thieves should actually run this kind of stuff more often. They have the best performing top laner in the league this split, able to get his own advantages, and they have the best disengaging 4-man squad. And apparently Split Push is back, which is something I kind of want to talk about since it was gone like a month ago. But I think this is the type of composition 100 Thieves should be very comfortable with. They were just kind of pushing their comfort zone a little bit by trying to play more up-tempo.
Right, so Darshan, talk to me then about the difficulty of playing against a team that all of a sudden, or rather showcases that they have multiple strategic options available to them. Because I think a lot of times we talk about teams and we go, well, that's their play style. So if you understand how to counter that play style, you have the advantage in the matchup. 100 Thieves now has 2 play styles. So how would you as a team really, approach playing them in a best of 5, for example?
Yeah, I think it's really hard when teams can play multiple styles because when you look at the draft and you're scouting, you're like, oh, they typically look to draft this for top lane or like a carry for jungle, and then you're like, oh, they're probably going to draft that. And then all of a sudden, oh no, it's a tank top, or it's a